Hello, everybody. I am Lily Becker, and this is my dad, Marian Gold,
The proud father.
and the lead singer of Alphaville. Welcome to the Alphaville podcast, where we will talk about everything regarding the upcoming album Eternally Yours, and also in honor of 40 years band history. We want to take you on a journey through time
And space.
and space and tell you all the stories behind the songs. When I was growing up, my dad always had his own home studio, so I never really had the moment of realization that he is a singer and he has his own band and writes songs that everyone around the world knows.
I didn't make a big thing out of it.
No, he never did. Definitely not. So for me, he was just always my dad who also writes music or mixes songs at home.
Doesn't work.
Yeah, it's just a hobby, basically. His job is just being a dad. And I always really liked that. And also, but nevertheless, I have really, really nice memories also. In general, with you being in Alphaville, for example, on concerts, I used to be on the side of the stage since I was very, very small. So when I was small, I had those big ear things, headphones over my ears, so the music wouldn't be too loud. And then when I was older, I used to stand on the side by myself, and I always watched him from the side. And it was so amazing to see him and see all like this huge crowd just in front of him in the first row going like, oh, yes, and dance with me and stuff like that. And in the end, like forever young. And everyone was singing, everyone had their lighters out, and it was so amazing. And I just stood there and I was like, wow, that's my dad. Like they're all here for my dad.
You never told me.
No? And I get that for free? What? And I have the dad show like 24/7. And it was just so amazing. And yes, I am also therefore a very, very proud daughter. And yeah. And also it's really funny to see just I feel like we're very close, especially actually since always. I feel like we're very close. We have a very special connection and also many things in common. Like, in my opinion, I feel like our looks. Because I don't feel like when I stand next to my mom, I'm just standing next to her and it's like, you don't see that I'm her daughter. Like, people ask me, are you friends? Are you sisters? And I'm like, no, that's my mom. And they're like, what? She looks so young. She doesn't look like you. And then when I stand...
It's the opposite with me.
Yeah, it's exactly the opposite. When I'm on a concert of his, I just go walking around. Everyone's like, "Yeah, wait, you look like the daughter of Marian Gold. Are you the daughter?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And then people actually recognize me just from my looks, and because like not many
And
pictures.
also because I'm old.
Because you're old.
Not like your mother.
Yeah. Nah. No, but I don't know. And also like the humor and stuff like that. I feel like we have the same humor. We laugh about the same things. Also values like family. We both really care for our families and try to have them as close as possible all the time. And it's really, really nice to see some parallels. I don't know. I just think it's really beautiful to have this strong bond between family members, especially with you. So thank you. And I'm very happy to be here. And I'm very happy to ask you some questions now about the upcoming album, which I have here. So the first single from the new album is already released, which is Big in Japan. And I just want to ask you, how was the whole experience of... I mean, it's also the first, you have a music video for it as well. How was it to film the music video? How was it to re-record the song that's been with you since so many years and that you sing on every concert?
Well, it was kind of funny feeling for me, especially coming up with a single called Big in Japan after so many years. So I thought that it was quite a good idea to use footage from the original video, and using the original video like a kind of ready-made thing for the new video, and doing this confrontation between the old and the young Marian, and you see the time that has been in between, which happened in between, and I think that is the plot of the actual video for the symphonic version of Big in Japan, and quite a good start. The other thing is that I was really surprised how easy it was to turn all these songs for the album, also Big in Japan, into a more symphonic piece of music. Um, and it's probably because from the very, very beginning, when we wrote those songs, we we were close to rock and roll and to the way we adopted the music around us, and we heard the music, and the music that we liked was basically rock and roll music, and the Beatles, the Stones, Pink Floyd, and but as a young boy, I was listening so much to classical music because simply the reason was there was no other music going on, no other interesting music going on German radio stations at the time, and so I grew up really with Mozart and Beethoven and uh, many other composers. My favorite composer is Felix Mendelssohn Bartholdy, actually, and yeah, when I was a child, I was listening to that music. There were moments uh, that were so overwhelming that I was sitting in front of the radio crying, and my mother found me there. I said, "What happened? Why are you crying?" I said, "It's because of the music."
How old were
And
you then?
I was 6 or 7 or so. And my mother said, you're not listening to that music, that kind of music anymore. This is terrible. How can you cry? How this music makes him cry? I'm not allowing you to listen to that
Wow.
music. So in a way, this classical music became a little bit like what probably later on happened to lots of kids. In their discussions with their parents, when they say, "No, you're not listening to this rock and roll music. It's the music from the devil." So for my mother, the devilish music came from classical composers. And I mean, because I've been growing up with all this in this musical environment, it probably I had it probably in the background when we were composing our own songs. In my case, 30 years or 24 years later, then. So yeah, there is a connection, and it absolutely makes sense to turn all these songs into classical pieces.
Yeah, that's amazing because I know the feeling of being. I haven't had the strong connection to classical music when I was younger. I feel like, but you played a lot of music, and my mother also played a lot of music to me. But it was mostly like jazz and I don't know, also a lot of David Bowie and very nice music. And also I realized while I've grown up, when I ask friends like, "Do you know the song? Do you know who David Bowie is?" They're like, sometimes they say no, and that's like it's such a shock to me. And then also because I went to a classical concert like a few months back, and it was so beautiful, and I sat there and I felt this, I don't know, this sensation just in my body, like the classical music. It was, I can't even begin to describe it. Like I sat there and I was thinking about how I want to describe it, but I just couldn't find the words because it was so beautiful. And then I also thought about the album that will come out with all the Alphaville songs uh, recorded by an orchestra or live by an orchestra on the tour. And I don't know if I can control myself when I sit there. I think I'm just gonna sit there like crying because I also remember when you played in Whiskey a Go Go, and it was this really really small venue, and you were singing Forever Young at the very end, and I was standing there on the stairs, and I was like looking directly at him with my eyes. I was like, "Oh my god!" And then he looked at me and sang Forever Young, and I was like, and I was just crying,
Well, the thing
and it
is
was
that I mean, playing the Whiskey a Go Go also for me was a very very moving moment.
yeah.
Um, because it was again one of my childhood dreams, that I could probably play there once in my life. And when we did the last North American tour, 2017, I think it was, then we also did a concert at Los Angeles at the Starlit Bowl, and on after the concert on my way back to the hotel, we drove down the sunset, and suddenly I saw a sign there, whiskey a go go. I said to the driver, "Is that the original whiskey a go go?" He said, "Yeah, and I said, "It's still going." Yeah, it's still going. It's still going strong. I said, and I mean, could we play in this place? And he said, "Everybody can play in this place." And the next day I immediately got contact to my management and said I would like to go to this place and play there, because this is a place where Janis Joplin, Jim Morrison, Jimi Hendrix, Jefferson Airplane, and many other famous artists and artists that I really loved performed there. And and Christian, my manager, said, "But it's a very small place." I said, "I don't give a shit."
You love that. I know you love like small, comfy places where everyone.
Well, I wanted to play there. I mean,
Yeah.
it was just a childhood dream. This classical album what we did now, Eternally Yours. It's not a class. It's not a childhood dream, but it's a dream as such. It's a realization of a dream
Yeah.
that I had for many years. So yeah, I'm in a lucky position that I still can realize dreams. Which is absolutely fantastic, and I'm very grateful for that.
Yeah.
Actually, when you were talking about your mother, we shared many of these many same tastes. Like the music and stuff. And Mama had a great voice also, or still has a great voice, and she did
Yes.
also lots of backing vocals for
Yeah.
Alphaville songs.
It's amazing to have a dad who has a great voice and a mother who has a great voice, and then I'm like, I can talk.
Oh,
No, but coming back to Big in Japan,
yeah.
I just want to ask a bit about the history behind the original song, because of course I know the song, everybody knows the song. It's like everyone can sing the song, but the actual meaning behind the song, I feel like not many people know what it's actually about. And I didn't know what it was about until like maybe 3 or 4 years ago when I heard something or read something online. Then I asked you, and you were like, "Yeah, maybe some other time. You're too young," or maybe it was more than 3 years ago. I don't know. And now, of course, I know what it's about. But do you want to say again? Maybe.
Well, I normally don't like to explain Alphaville songs. When I write the lyrics for songs, it's my intention is not to talk to an audience. It's basically talking to myself. And since I'm a singer, I need words that make sense. I could not sing nonsense, So I need stories, and Big in Japan reflects my time in the late 70s in West Berlin, and there was this drug circuit around the zoological garden train station, and I saw people there buying drugs and prostitutes and everything, and this is basically what's Big in Japan about. So the zoo. It was in a way it was a human zoo of lots of strange curiosities, and it was also a place of disaster and very tragic events, and yeah, it was a kind of dark inspiration, when we had the bass line for Big in Japan. I was thinking about what kind of story I'm going to tell, and I just came from the town center. So I passed the train station at Zoological Garden, and it just felt natural to write something about it. And so I wrote a story about this young couple, both junkies, and they dream about the possibility to get rid of the drugs and get rid of this terrible life. And
And then this song that you then wrote actually got you out of that scene, right? It was the first song, the first really big success of Alphaville,
it
right?
is, yeah, it was. I mean, it was our first single. It was an instant a rocket-like success, and
How
it
was
was a
that?
weird feeling. It was really a weird sensation to write a song about this scene and then earning a lot of money with it in a
Yeah,
way.
I imagine.
It's quite bizarre.
Yeah.
Um, and most of the people that I know from that time, they 5 years later they were all dead. You know, but people normally they don't seem to care very much about lyrics. So it's the most important thing for me is that I write the lyrics without any. I mean, I don't want to inform people or whatever about the contents. It's just for myself, and if people are interested in what the songs have to say, then they will find something interesting. That's the promise, the Alphaville promise.
And it's true. And it's true. Like when I read the lyrics to actually all of your songs, I feel like they have so much to say and so much room for inspiration, and also the words you choose and the feelings you describe. You find words for, or you manage to describe things that other people don't even know they're feeling, and it's really beautiful. Um, so you wrote Big in Japan, and you were on the top of the charts, and you were suddenly famous, kind of, right?
Yeah.
I wasn't there, so I have to ask. How was that? How was it to be like, I don't know, did you dream of being famous? Was that in the back of your head while you wrote your songs or while you made music before?
No, no. It was basically the fact that we were able to write songs was a sensation for me. Um, I Originally I wanted to become a painter, and I started a couple of semesters at the HDK in Berlin. Uh, I never went there actually. I mean, I had too much other problems at that time, and I uh,
But
I
you got
then find this
accepted.
guy, a friend of mine, and he said, "Come on, we can do music." And I said, "Oh no, I can't play any instrument. You can't play any instrument. So what's the use of that?" And he said, "Yeah, we have this rhythm. We could buy some of these rhythm machines and sequences and synthesizers and just create our own music." And I think the idea not to play other people's song, but straight from the beginning, writing our own music, that was something that I was dreaming of all the time, and that a dream that I thought that would never fulfill itself. And suddenly there was a chance, to realize that dream, and I grabbed it. And we started, and the second song we ever wrote in our lives was "Big in Japan," actually.
Wow.
So there was a kind of urgency. There was a kind of
What was the first song?
the first song was called "A Bubblegum Event," and it
Oh.
it was it was a story about a sniper in a completely empty city, and suddenly another guy appears. These two are the last men on Earth, and the sniper is thinking, "Shall I kill this person or not?" And this is a song about it. It's called "Bubblegum Event." I don't know why it was. I think because the sun in the lyrics, the sun looked like a big bubble gum or so. I don't know.
Yeah.
So, well, this song would never been released, but I still remember the instrumental melody of it, and I'm still thinking of rewriting the song once again with this melody. And also, I remember bits of the lyrics, so maybe one day I write the first ever song from Alphaville after many, many decades.
That would be very nice. And do you feel like also, I mean, nowadays, many people go to therapy to go through their problems and talk about it, but do you feel like your therapy was writing songs, and you feel like you managed to get over your problems by writing songs? And
No,
no,
I'm not a great believer of therapies.
I know.
Anyway, um,
What do you believe in then? How to get over your problems or how to manage them?
get the fucking thing right. I mean, this is the only way. I mean, get it right or fail. You know, this is my personal philosophy. I mean, For instance, for other people, I would probably rather go for therapies and for more understanding or whatever. Self-reflection is something I can do. I think going and doing a therapy is very, very much depending on self-reflection and studying yourself and trying to find the truth inside yourself.
And you didn't do that while writing your songs?
Well, it's more like when I write songs, it's more like automatic writing. It is I don't think about it. I don't say, okay, this is a subject, and now I analyze it, and then I write something around that subject. And this is the way I'm treating myself. I never think very much about myself. I just do some things. I do things, and then
So you're a maker and not a talker, you would say.
this is when you say that, it's a judgment. A talker is somebody who is useless, and a maker is somebody who does things, and he's better than a talker or whatever. I don't know. I mean, I'm not believing in all these kind of categories. It's like I'm inside the family, for instance. I would like to help everybody, my children. I love you. I love all my children very dearly, and I would, if they were in need for help or in any respect, I would do everything I can.
Yeah.
But concerning myself, I have I've been growing up with these things like, I don't know. Oh, I'm just a relic from a different time.
Yeah.
I can't really relate to all these complicated ways of interpretation yourself. And this is not my cup of tea.
So you just write songs when you.
All right,
you
so
just
yeah,
sit down?
it's a very fatalistic thing, because it's not that I want to change anything by writing a song. I don't think that a song or that art can change. The great thing about art is there's no responsibility. My theory about art is an artist has no responsibility because art doesn't kill, And so what I can do the most terrible or most strange things, as long as they happen in the universe of art, it's okay. It's okay. So the greatest possible freedom that one can achieve probably is, being an artist. And this is what I find so fascinating about being a musician. That I have no responsibility. I don't have to grow up. I just can play and play and play like a dolphin, all my life through. And this is a great privilege, and I'm very grateful for, being an artist, earning my money for myself and for my family, and that I can still carry on being an artist is really great. Well, Around the Universe is a song from our last regular studio album, A Strange Attractor. And it's the story about a man who is waving at a starting aeroplane. And the aeroplane is a little bit like a cosmic plane, so it goes outside,